Alex, can you smell that?
No, is it Teen Spirit?
I'm just asking if you can smell anything, because I can't smell I can't smell a damn thing right now. So
Yeah, I can smell things.
okay, good. Glad to know. So anyway, welcome everyone to Total Pebble Knockdown. I'm in quarantine, and I'm Nathan.
And I am not in quarantine, and I am Alex.
See, this is interesting because when we did the last show, early on, you got the snake curse.
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment about that. Last time I had the snake curse, this time you've got the COVID.
Yeah. The cove viper. It's a different snake.
I think if it was a snake, it'd be more manageable.
You really would think so. And if any adventure tales have taught me, it's usually you can get past the snake. Like Pitfall, you can get past the snake. Yeah,
why did it have to be snakes?
Why does it have to always be snakes? People have to wonder. Anyway, thank you for joining us yet again on the show. And today we are talking about a whole bunch of tabletop gaming. Aren't you excited?
Hooray.
Yay!
I am the model of excitement.
You are the very model of a model major general.
I should be wearing a mask if I'm around you right now, though.
Maybe. I don't know. We're in completely different towns, so I think you're okay.
That's the way I like to keep it. You should just be wearing a hazmat suit for
Our first subject for the day is games you didn't think I'd play. And for this one, we are actually talking about being able to play D&D as Snowball the Rainbow Unicorn Detective, which did indeed happen late last year. Very happy to tell you that. And I even got to play as a member of the Hoof and Horn Detective Agency.
Did you want to give a little bit of backstory about what the hell that is, in case anyone listening has no idea what you're going on about?
Well, if they don't know, I pity them. But here is the thing. So Snowball, the Rainbow Unicorn Detective, was a character that I had thought up a few years back. I just liked the idea of literally just a rainbow unicorn that didn't want to do regular unicorn games and wanted to leave his glade where he had a lovely, charmed lifestyle in his royal bearing that he had, and just wanted to go off to the country. Had read all of these like detective novels, the Sherlock Hooves novels, I think I called them, and decided that he wanted to be a detective. And so he got his what is it called, the deerstalker cap on, and he set out to found the Hoof and Horn Detective Agency, and root out corruption in the system. So ever since that point, when we had guests on and talked to different people, it gave me a good excuse to ask them about things. And
yeah, that's once in a while we ask people questions about things and stuff.
Right. It's very specific. That is our tagline now. We ask
It's better than the one you have.
That's true, but you know what? It's always a work in progress. Squirrel! Anyway, so we had brought this up to people of very good standing in the community have very good reputations and know what they're talking about. Very well respected people have had to listen to me and had conversations about the Hoof and Horn Detective Agency. Now, I did get to play a couple of years ago in the one-shot that James put on, the Santa Drop, along with a couple other people. But this particular time, I was very happy that I was able to go over to the Inspectres and play a one-shot in Kittensville with DC Lucer,
Yes.
being the person running the game, and a couple of the regulars from the Inspectres were there as well. And basically the idea of that particular stream was that their characters occasionally get transported to this magical land of Kittensville, which is a world that is populated with basically anthropomorphic animals.
I thought you were going to say with dogs.
There are a lot of dogs in Kittensville, actually. I hate to tell you that. But they are. And so they got transported there into their animal forms, where they met me and my boss at the Hoof and Horn Detective Agency, Mr. Barksley, who is a pug, and I do not like him, assigned me these new recruits that had just arrived, and we had to find some objects and eventually fight a giant, mech robot.
Oh. Was it made of deers?
Was it made of deers? I wish. That would have been amazing. But now here's the fun part, Alex. It was a mech suit. There were these cat mannequins or catechins that had come to life. They were like mimics that were in mannequin catechen form.
Okay.
And then the big boss was a horde mimic. So it was the one that's like a giant treasure chest, like made of treasure. And we had to fight all of that. Now, when we started this, DC told me that I could take an uncommon item. An uncommon magical item. And I thought to myself that sounded like a pretty great idea. To take, what is it called? Hold it a second, I need to find, I took the Bag of Tricks. Now, the Bag of Tricks, if you're not familiar, and I'm guessing you're not, but Bag of Tricks is a wondrous item, and there's a few different kinds that you can get. I took the Rust Bag of Tricks, and basically, there's like 3 little fuzzy balls in it. You throw them out, you roll a d8, and you'll get an animal spring from the little fuzzy ball, depending on what you pick, that will be available to help you out for like the rest of the day until nighttime. And they'll replenish essentially overnight.
Okay.
So basically you get a cadre of little animals that you can throw out.
You get reusable Pokemon.
You get reusable Pokemon, you just don't know which ones you're going to throw out. So, when we were chasing the catechins down the road, okay, I chucked one of these out because we weren't catching up, and I got a goat. Perfect. That makes perfect sense. I thought Goat Simulator in real life. Well, the goat wasn't particularly useful, I will admit, but this is the best part. This is why I chose the Rust Bag of Tricks, Alex. I was thinking of you. Because if you look at the list of what you can get, there are boars and bears on here.
Oh, boars and bears are great.
It's all good. So, last battle, final battle of the game, big boss, I chuck it out, I roll an 8 on a d8. And that
Nice.
means I get a brown bear. I call him Jeremy Baramy, and he gives all the hugs. So
Bear hugs.
he gives lots of bear hugs. You will be very happy to know that he wrecked many, many things that day. And we're very happy with how he felt by the end of that. So, got to summon a bear. It was a brown bear, and it wrecked a lot of stuff. So,
Perfect.
I thought that would make you pleased.
Usually I just wreck the bears.
Usually you just wreck the bears. Yeah, there's a giant boar on here too. I was kind of hoping to get. But, but the bear's good.
Killed 2 party members with a giant boar one time.
That's why I was kind of hoping I would get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my fault.
No. But
You keep telling me it's my fault, but it was not my fault.
Okay, fine. It was not your fault. The fun thing about, though, the brown bear is I didn't know really any of the stat blocks for any of these, and there are 2 different attacks that it gets anyway. It gets, like, the double swipe attack and a bite. And so, actually, it does really well in combat. You can just give giant bear hugs and bite people all the time. But what I was trying to figure out, the big thing, was when I did the one-shot with James, Operation Santa Drop a couple years back, the way I had built Snowball was in Open Legend. So, because you can build any character, really, with an Open Legend system, and it basically converts into the roll-to-dodge system that he was building. This time, though, I actually made Snowball in D&D. I actually made it in the D&D character creation, and so I got a little bit of help from DC because I was trying to figure out exactly if I'm a detective, and that's really what I do. What might I want to actually be? What might I actually want to be for a character, class, whatever? And he said, well, the thing is, you can kind of figure out which one of the races works the best for your character in terms of what they can do, what you think that a unicorn should do. And then for class, I would pick a rogue inquisitive. So inquisitives are kind of just that. They are kind of inspectors by their very nature. That's what their traits and features really are. If I actually look, 3rd level for a oh no, that's just telling me that it is a feature. The ear for deceit, the eye for details, those are things that you get, so that it's easier you can make a bonus action to do perception checks to spot hidden creatures and objects. You can make whenever you make an insight check to determine whether a creature is lying, you can treat a roll of 7 or lower on a d20 as an 8. So you get some things specifically so that you can be observant. And to augment that, I went with perks rather than skill points when I leveled...
You mean feats.
Sorry, feats. I'm still thinking Fallout. And my feats that I took were things like... where was it? Here's my feats. I took, like, a linguist. So I actually ended up with 3 more languages that I could do, and also being able to write ciphers that could get given out. Keen Mind, which is you always know which way is north, the number of hours left before the next sunrise, and can recall anything you've seen and heard within the past month, so basically you have eidetic memory.
There you go.
That's fun. And then Observant, which is pretty great. If you can see a creature's mouth when it's speaking, you can interpret it, but the big thing is that you also get a +5 bonus to your passive perception and investigation scores.
Oh geez, that's a lot.
Yeah, especially because I did mastery in things like my perception and insight and investigation scores. So right now, Snowball, it's level 10. Snowball is level 10 right now. And he has a passive perception score of 25.
Jesus Christ.
And a passive investigation score of 27. So, and an insight score of 20. So, I don't know what he can't he can't observe at this point. It's pretty hard. But that kind of makes up for the fact that in combat he doesn't really have much going on. Because I knew that I wasn't going to take much in terms of combat. However, since I am a rogue, I did have backstab.
Yeah, that makes up for everything else.
Pretty much, because my rapier that I was using, which I basically just said was my horn. It's just my horn. The whole idea is that I attack with the horn. was what I was going to be using. But in terms of race, I was looking through a lot of them trying to figure out what made the most sense, and I thought to myself, well, noble birth, mystical, magical creature, probably a little stuck up. I'm thinking high elf. I'm thinking high elf, and when I started looking at what the high elf typically does, I was like, yeah, this probably makes the most sense. I didn't really think that he would have dark vision, but then again, apparently everybody has friggin' dark vision anyway, so who cares? So that's what I went with. It worked out pretty well.
Did you ever get the spell Color Spray as a rainbow unicorn?
I did not get Color Spray.
Missing out.
I am missing out. I technically only have one skill because I could. I want to say that it's a feature of the High Elf, is that I could have a cantrip for free. And I got Prestidigitation.
Oh, because you don't have hands.
Well, actually, apparently, DC says that I had hands, so that I could hold on to things, and so I was like, I still don't quite know how that works, but every time I had to be reminded of it, it's like, Snowball goes, oh, I have hands! It's like, yes, Snowball, you do. But the fun part was, one of the characters, is technically a Warforged, but in animal form can actually like drink, and had an alcoholic drink for the first time, and got real drunk and started seeing colors and stuff, and I thought that I could make it a lot better if I used Prestidigitation and just like showed her pretty butterflies. just really enhance the experience for it. So I pretty much just made butterflies with Prestidigitation. I didn't really do much else of interest. But anyway, so that ran over a couple sessions, and I tried to take notes, but I wasn't very good at it. I think I was supposed to lose my badge once or twice, because the odd thing is that while he is incredibly observant, he keeps losing things. I think that's a Snowball thing.
Because of the lack of remembering he has hands.
The thing where he doesn't remember he has hands. Which is odd, because if he can remember everything that happens that he's seen or done in the month, you would think that wouldn't be the case. But here we are. So I did get to play that. We did successfully finish it. There was can't remember what the Jellicle Ball was what we were trying to recover the items for. We recovered the party mech and everything, and so we were able to complete our mission. Snowball, they went off back to the land that they previously went to, and Mr. Pugsley got angry at me that I apparently lost my recruits.
Oh, well.
But we hate Mr. Pugsley, though. Mr. Pugsley's a jerk. That's the new narrative. But anyway. So I'm mostly just happy that I was able to create Snowball in D&D. There had been many different ways people had considered doing that. I know that, like, when we talked to David at one point, he was talking about possibly, like, you could do a monster campaign. I think you mentioned that as well. And just have the unicorn stats and just build a character out of just the unicorn stats itself. But we actually did it with the actual character class, the character builder. So you can do it. I just had to basically reskin a high elf, which sounds... Maybe I shouldn't put it that way. I don't want to reskin a high elf.
Why not?
Just put the high elf skin on you.
Just wear it as a face mask.
Just wear it as a face mask. Absolutely.
Oh, people, you can wear leather. You can wear hide. Why not have skin armor? There you go. You're welcome.
You know,
It's new high fashion because it's high elf skin.
because it is high elf skin, yeah. Well, actually, Alex, I don't know if you remember this, but in Baldur's Gate 2, there was actually a, evil quest line you could go on to actually get the flesh armor.
Oh. No, I didn't play that one.
Yep. There was. I don't think I did that. But I had read a whole thing on it, like, because there's no obvious thing in the Baldur's Gate where it's like, what if you're an evil character or an evil... There's a few specific things that... few specific quests that kind of fall into the evil category, and that the creation of the flesh armor is one of them. Through console codes, you could just get it. That might be the most evil thing of all. Just bypass the game. But, I don't think Snowball would be doing that. But, but I was happy to be able to, do that. And to play Snowball. And bet you never thought that it would happen.
No, I knew it would happen.
Okay.
But, congratulations on snowballing your way into a hill.
I did snowball my way into a hill. I don't know where the hill was, but yeah, I got to play a lot of snowballs. I got to play a lot of Total Snowball Knockdown.
There you go.
He almost died.
Only once?
At the end.
Oh.
Kind of ran out of hit points.
Yeah, that's usually when you tend to die.
Yeah. I didn't have to do death rolls, though.
Oh, okay.
Well, because I also realized I had miscalculated my damage. It was a spell, and apparently you're only supposed to take half of whatever the overall dice total was for the spell. I think it was a Sonic one. And I thought that it was the full number. And then they said, no, actually you still have like 3 hit points. I'll take it. I'd rather have 3 hit points than none. I'll take it.
Yes.
So anyway, are there any characters, before I close up, any characters that you have, my brain broke. Never mind. I have no questions.
Are there any characters that I've wanted to make and haven't?
There!
Not a concept quite as much as your unicorn, but at some point I would like to make a character that is both a druid and a necromancer.
A druid necromancer, okay.
Yeah. So a druid, a spellcaster, circle the land probably, or I think there's the swarm maybe, or the fungus one. I don't know, one of the druids, not the shape changey one, and then a necromancer, wizard, or cleric I guess, but probably wizard, that uses necromancy to raise dead, but have them as a keeper of balance between life and death.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's an interesting idea. Do you know what the character is called?
Nope.
It's gonna be called Jeremy Baramy.
No, because that's a shape changer. It wouldn't be that.
Oh. Okay. Well, if you ever come up with a name, you let me know, and then I'll
Name it Baramy?
I'll name it Baramy afterward. I'll put Jeremy in front of it.
No.
Okay.
Anyways.
Anyway, the upshot of this segment is don't go to Kittensville. It is a silly place.
This episode.
I should just be wearing a hazmat suit. Don't have one available. Maybe if somebody can send one to me. All right, everybody, and it's time for a crit think.
Thank.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Alex, I got a crit thing for you. Over the holidays, I had to entertain, I guess, some of the youngers that are around, my nieces, nephews, and such. And, they got their presents, and Mom had gotten them something I was not even familiar with. Have you ever heard of poppets?
Nope.
Okay. That's probably fine. Anyway, if you remember the fidget spinner craze and all of those, it's sort of in that genre. The idea is
Toys.
it's a fidget toy, right? The idea is that they're sort of like in a sheet almost, and they're like latex or silicone. I want to say they're silicone, and you pop the little buttons, and you can pop them in and out, and that's what you do. But anyway, they thought to make a poppet game, and then the kids wanted me to play the poppet game with them. And I was like, oh, okay, what are the rules? And then they explained the rules of the poppet game to me, and I thought to myself, I don't really think this is a game. I don't know if this even qualifies. Here's how the poppet game works. Each one of your players, you have two sides, and there's a bunch of poppets on each one of the sides, and then 3 big poppets in the middle, and a little dice piece in the center for rolling. And you have 2 dice, and there's 6-sided dice. You roll the dice, and whatever number comes up, you pop that number of poppets. Then the next person goes, rolls, and whatever number they get, they pop that number of poppets on their side. And the goal is to keep doing this until you have popped all your poppets, and then you win. That's it. That's the game.
So it's gambling?
Basically, it's gambling. It's just
a dice game that doesn't require any skill.
You basically, all you do is it's all chance. You just roll the dice, and it's sort of like, I'm trying to think of like what other games it might be like. Maybe like, Chutes and Ladders. Remember when Chutes and Ladders? And you just like go so many spaces, and was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? Or Candyland, when you had like the different cards and you just go to whatever space it was and there's no other input required? It's that. it's just that.
Listen, if you can make a probably multi-million-dollar company on games like Candyland,
yeah,
on games that just require no thought and dice rolls and then moving a piece,
respect,
and consider a game.
Yeah,
this poppet thing can be considered a game.
Right. It can be considered a game. I'm not going to question that it's a game, because technically, I guess it is. But I can't say that it's interesting or enjoyable. And so the entire time I'm playing with these kids, they're like 11 and 5, right? The entire time I'm playing with them, I'm like, so like, is it that I have to like fill in certain rows when I get like certain dice? Like I have to determine like, oh, I think I'm gonna get a high number. I should try picking a track where I need more. Like maybe I'm trying to figure out like resource management. Like I'm trying to put resource management in the damn poppet game. Like, do I match up different colors? What, like anything like that? And they're like, nope. You roll the dice, and you pop the number of poppets. I'm just trying.
So here's my question: why do you need to buy this? Why don't you just get some bubble wrap?
Well, because this is you can use this over and over again. It's like reusable bubble wrap.
I mean, just get a big roll of bubble wrap for like $3.
It's true. It's true. That's the best poppet.
Then you can make the game board as big as you want.
Yeah, you can make the game board as big as you want. I kept thinking that there's got to be a little bit more to the puppet game, right? There's got to be more. So anyway, on this crit think, we're going to ask, could you make the puppet game fun? And I want to think about other ways that you could take a simple idea like that. Okay, fine. I roll dice, I pop the puppets. But is there more mechanics we could put into this to try and make it more interesting?
Yes.
Okay.
You combine it with blackjack rules.
Oh.
Add a deck of cards. Deal it to hands. Whoever wins the hand gets to pop their number of puppets.
Oh, okay.
So then you're introducing, blackjack mechanics, skill, luck, aside from just dice, and then you're going, all right, well, only the winner gets to pop these.
Okay, only the winner gets to pop.
So then you get the catharsis, especially if you do use bubble wrap for it. It's like, oh, yes.
Well, now here's the thing I was thinking about when you said the blackjack thing, okay, is you have a number that you're trying to hit, and you can't go over that number with the poppets, right? So if you go over the number when you're rolling the dice, then you can't take anything. You can't take.
So you're thinking like a push your luck mechanic?
Like a push your luck mechanic. Yes, that. You might need more dice for that.
No, you could do it with 2.
You could do it with 2. It would just be a little bit. Like, you could roll the 2, and you could try, like, rolling another one. But thinking to myself, like, okay, if you're trying to hit up against, I don't know, like 10. 10 is what you're going for, but if you end up with, like, 11 or 12, no go. You can't. So, trying to get to 10, and you can take points up to 10, but you can't take it if you get an 11 or 12 because you've pushed too hard. You could do it in the opposite direction too if you're getting it low enough. And then the other thing I was thinking about too was that idea that if it was color coordinated and you had different dice that were for different colors, you could determine like which, like maybe I get to choose which dice I'm going to be using so that I can figure out what tracks I actually want to fill in here, because it is like a rainbow coloration. There are different colors for each of the tracks. I thought that's got to mean something. That feels like it should be a mechanic, like that I have to choose a track or choose a color and then denote dice for the color. Like range it out that way. I get my 2 dice, I chuck them out there, and then I have to determine, like, do I want to put my 4 in the pink track and put my 2 in the blue track, or to fill that out, but I can't overfill it, or if I choose that ahead of time, I need a dice for this one, and then roll those, but if it goes too much, I get nothing. I have to get the exact number. It's still going to be luck-based, I know that. Like, it's going to be primarily a luck-based, but if you just put a little bit of strategy and skill in there.
Alright, so I've got a better idea, is you introduce 2 D8s in the deck of cards, and then the cards are ranked 1 through 10, and then Jack, King, Queen, King, and Ace are 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Okay.
So you draw the card, and you're trying to either get to or below the card number on 2d8.
Okay.
And then on the 2d8, 2 of the numbers are going to be zeros.
Okay.
Or counted as zeros.
Okay.
It's probably the 2 8s, because there's only 14, and then you don't want to have 16 as an option.
Okay. And so, what happens? So I'm trying to get the same number basically on my cards as my dice?
You're trying to meet or get under, kind of like blackjack rules.
Oh, okay. And we're just determining basically what that number is going to be.
Yes.
I see. Okay. Am I rolling? So wait a sec. Am I rolling the dice first, or am I figuring out the cards?
Draw the card, roll the dice.
Draw the card, roll the dice.
Yes. Yes.
Copy that. Okay, so the card determines what my dice maximum can be, essentially. And I can't go over that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's... Alright. The more we talk about this, the less the Pop-It game actually matters. You notice that we're building a game, but the actual thing that it was based on has little to no consequence to anything now.
Good.
Let's just get rid of it. I have also seen boards for this that are like 4-player boards. If you wanted to do like 4 players and do this with the same basic dice rolls. And I was like, okay, yeah, you could, but these ideas, you could still implement them with multiple players. I don't see why not.
And just use bubble wrap again.
Again, you could just use bubble wrap. That might be the best idea that we've had so far, is just using the bubble wrap, man. All of the time.
If you need to playtest it, just use bubble wrap.
Just playtest it with the bubble wrap, see how you go. I kind of thought that, like, similar to bubble wrap, like, maybe there'd be, like, lines or patterns or something I needed to fill in beforehand. Like a tic-tac-toe scenario, I have to get certain combinations in there or what. But no, none of that. Nothing.
No, it's just
like
designed to be like, yeah, you can pop this many. It's like
it's a distraction tool. It's It's a the world is a very frenetic place. Let me just sit here and pop these bubbles for a little while. But they had to do the silly thing of trying to make it seem like it was a game. And so then I sat there and it's like, well, now I have to play it. I didn't want to play with the Pop-It toys.
You should have just been like, no, I just want to pop.
Because I have a fidget spinner. Just because I was like, well, let's see what this is like. And I don't think I've picked up my fidget spinner in years. It's not exactly, like, real interesting.
I know what the cover of this episode is going to be.
Just a fidget spinner?
It's just going to be a fidget spinner.
What you do is you have a fidget spinner and you have the little poppets in the openings where the fidget spinner...
There you go.
Poppet fidget. If they haven't made that yet, oh my god. Can you imagine if you had a fidget spinner with the poppets in the individual things for the... My goodness.
Or if you remember that point in time where fidget spinners were a really big craze going on.
Oh yeah.
And YouTubers were getting in on it. They're like, oh yeah, I've got a line of fidget spinners. And then they're like, oh, I guess nobody actually wanted this. Like, all the people in the comments are complaining that they do not want fidget spinner stuff. So we're gonna just take that investment and melt it.
Yeah. I think that that might have been one of those problems where the people that might have actually still been in the market for a fidget spinner. Because they were so ubiquitous that I don't think you needed like 50 of them for most people. But if you were in the market for them, it was probably like kids and their parents didn't necessarily like think to themselves, hey, the creator that wants to sell it for like double what we get it in stores.
You want to know the funny part about this is fidget spinners were something that was stolen a lot at my work.
Can you imagine going to jail for the theft of a fidget spinner?
They ended up at one point putting them in like the video game type cases, the hard cases.
Why?
Because people were stealing that many.
They were like, what, $3?
Nickel and dime to death.
Jeez. Like, was there a black market for fidget spinners?
I don't know, but maybe we should make one.
We should. There should be a fidget... Black market fidget.
Next character design, character concept, the black market fidget spinner.
I like the idea of having like an assassin, but instead of like ninja stars, they just have fidget spinners.
Yes.
Let's do that.
Fidget spinner stars.
Yes. I keep thinking though, like you could add the fidget spinners as a mechanic into games like this. I mean, let's face it, it's a spinning mechanic with like 3 little dots in it. You would figure that this would be some kind of a game element you could put into things.
Spin the bottle? No, spin the fidget spinner.
That's right. And the thing about it is that you don't get a kiss at the end of the fidget spinner. And you just get to play with the fidget spinner. That's all you do. The thing is that that's why it never replaced spin the bottle, is because people that want to use the fidget spinners don't have the attention span necessary to play the game. So, but I keep thinking to myself, yeah, you could just take all the fidget stuff, right? You could take the puppets, and you could take the fidget spinners, and you could take whatever else. I saw the little block puzzles, too, where you can change them into different cubes. I think we got one of those for the girls. Take all of those, put them all together, create a fidget game out of all these different elements, and then market that. But it would have to be way more complex than what they were offering with the
Think
Poppet
it'd be
game.
cheaper just to like sell people packets of like LSD?
I mean, yeah, I think that there was just that like little legal issue.
What? Legal? Okay, do you want to talk about MK Ultra sometime?
That's the TPK After Dark.
Oh, sorry.
That's what we'll call that the strong T episodes. We'll yeah, we'll call them the strong T episodes, and those will probably be Patreon exclusives.
Perfect. Now we just need more patrons that'll listen to it.
Oh yeah, well, the ones that are there will enjoy it. We'll get into those headier ideas on a different time. But for now, we passed the question on to all of
the question has been passed on.
Passed on because I'm popping a lot of questions towards you right now. I'm gonna fidget spin this one right over to you. How would you make a fidget spinner game? I'm just going back to the fidget spinners. Now I want to know. Can fidget spinners be a game? Because I think we figured out the Poppet Swing. You can use it as an element, but it's not a game in its own right. I mean, it is technically a game, but not like a fun one. So you have to weigh that out. You could use it as an element to make a fun game, maybe, but fidget spinners. How are you doing that? Let us know. Comments down below, or get us over on the Discord. That'd be great. Okay, and
I was gonna say, I mean, Monopoly is technically a game. It doesn't make it a fun one.
Make an older woman and call her the Fidget Spinster.
Yes.
There we
Ray
go.
was being cringy. Their joke.
Fidget spin. Don't worry, everything fidget related is cringy by its very.
Our thumbnail's gonna be something from this section, I assume, where we're talking about fidget toys.
Oh
Just
yeah.
cover it in, do like a collage of fidget spinners and puppets.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
Only like 5 years late.
Yes. TPK branded fidget spinner.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Not for product, just for the thumbnail.
Oh yeah. Let's do that. We're gonna be the ones that bring the fidget spinner back.
Terribly off balance, weighted down by rocks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Can't have it. And finally we come to one more thing, which of course is a segment we do only at the end of episodes, because it would be kind of weird to start with one more thing.
What if we just did an episode that was nothing but one more things?
Well, then what you would do is we'd have one more thing, two more things, and three more things.
One thing, two thing.
Three thing, blue thing. Blue fish, red fish. Well, we need an episode that's just like red fish, white fish, blue fish. That'd be something. Me, myself, and I. That'd be fun. Okay, so this one I wanted to talk about is because of bleh. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Head freeze. During that same time where we were playing with that Poppets game, the youngest of these children wanted to watch the Spider-Man movie.
Which the Spider-Man movie are we talking about?
There's where I want to talk about this. That's actually a really
We're talking
pertinent
about
question.
all of the Spider-Man movies?
No, but this is actually where the really important point is. You kind of made the question that makes this whole segment. I hope. Mom gets out the different Spider-Man movies that we have. And she and the little one goes, "No, that's not the real Spider-Man. No, that's not the real Spider-Man." And eventually Mom pulls out Into the Spider-Verse. And she goes, "That's the real Spider-Man." And so then we have to watch Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay, first of all,
yes.
Are you pulling out just like DVDs that you've got of all these different Spider-Man movies?
Pretty much.
What even?
Yeah, I know.
But secondly, I have not seen Into the Spider-Verse, but I heard by all accounts it was fantastic.
Oh, it's a terrific film. I'm not going to disparage Into the Spider-Verse at all, and that second one's looking pretty tight. Because they actually showed, oh god, I want to say, is it 2033? No, it's not 2033. But anyway, the future Spider-Man version they showed in the new one. But anywho, Into the Spider-Verse, the original one. So Peter Parker's involved in it, but it's mostly a Miles Morales story.
Yes.
Okay. But anyway, for her, that's like, this is the real Spider-Man. So from her perception, this is the one that she's used to. She wanted to watch it, and then she wanted to tell me everything that happens in it before it happens. Because of course. But it got me to thinking about actually that story and that character and what it means for, like, parties when you're in a tabletop game. Let me explain that a little bit better.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, usually when people think about Spider-Man, chances are most people are thinking Peter Parker. Kind of a classic Spider-Man, right? Like, always, like, the original cartoons were about Peter Parker, and the movies, the Sam Raimi movies, and then the newer ones when Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland were in it, those as well. So most people probably have a perception of Peter Parker as Spider-Man. Into the Spider-Verse happens to be one of those movies, though, that asks a question about, like, all these different universes and that there are different interpretations of Spider-Man. So you might have SPDR and Penny Parker in one, you'd have Spider-Man Noir in another, Spider-Gwen, and in this particular thing, the main characters, Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and then Peter B. Parker, which almost seems like a through a mirror, sadly, version of Peter Parker.
That's the older version, right? That Film Theory did a good video on that, where they basically were like, which version of Spider-Man is this? And it's I believe Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
They think it's Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
It's Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Okay. Peter B. Parker is, like, when you're watching the movie, they kind of do different intros for each of the characters, and Miles comes from the same world as Peter Parker, the way you usually think of Peter Parker, and then has to kind of take up the mantle afterward. Things went well for Peter, like the way that you normally think. Marries MJ, saving the city, the people's hero, the whole thing. He's doing great. He's in shape. He's living his dream. Peter B. Parker, unfortunately, things didn't work out so well. Had some missteps, got out of shape, got divorced from MJ, living alone, got really attached to his couch, and just trying to, still the only Spider-Man in his universe, so, it's going. And And then he gets pulled into this world, and now is confronted with the fact that he's actually not really the Spider-Man that people know. But in many ways, for the people that are on the ground, Miles is also not the Spider-Man that people know. They're used to Peter Parker. Now you get all these other characters. Spider-Ham comes in. I mean, there's a thing.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that. And now you're confronted with all these other spider people from different universes. And for the people that are on the ground floor, they have an impression about who the actual hero is. And then there's all these other folks. This is another Spider-Man. This is another hero. Not the one we're used to. And it got me to thinking, like, how must the interpretation be on the ground floor for people when they're encountering your party, right? Like, are you actually the heroes, or are you like the B team heroes? Do they actually know who you are? Are you actually the heroes of the story from a ground level?
I think that would come into play of what level your characters are, for instance. Where I've heard the concept of tiers of play. Where levels like 1 through 4 are like pretty low, like just menial, like adventurers, whatever. As soon as you get above level 4, you're into like folk heroes.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're like, oh, these guys are well-known heroes. At level 10 through like 15. And then after level 15, you are like demigod level status. You know? So I think that depends on like how well known, what you do in your campaign, what the story is. But again, where you're like, are you the B team heroes? Well, what if your campaign actually has another group or king or entourage going about doing things that are actually in the headlines, essentially, if there's news or broadcast. The story is about them, technically, but you're in the background actually doing all the groundwork. Think of Life of Brian, the Monty Python's movie.
Sure.
Where it's a strange reference, I know.
No, I see where you're going with this.
Where, you know, Jesus obviously is Jesus, but everyone thinks that Brian is the real guy. So I haven't actually seen it, but I know the plot synopsis, and I've been meaning to see it for years now. So, you know, Brian's going around doing everything in the foreground. Everyone's following him around as if he's Jesus, while Jesus is the one in the background, the B team, essentially, pulling all the miracles and doing stuff.
Right. Yeah, so... And that's kind of one of the things is like, you know, well, who's the real Messiah?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
yeah.
obviously the guy that actually is doing miracles.
Well, yeah, there is that. but the perception on the ground is that that's not the case. That they think they know who the real person, the real deal is. And I started to wonder about what we should take away from the public perception of your heroes. Like, are they supposed to be out front, even? Like, maybe they don't want to be. Maybe they don't want to have that notoriety. Maybe some of them do. You could have a party of like 6 different players, and 2 of them want fame and want to be the heroes of the story, and the other ones just don't, because they don't want the baggage or they don't want the notoriety that comes with it.
Well, you could, in that case, be like 1 or 2 of your players could be like, yeah, I want to be like the face. And the rest of you are considered the support, or the entourage, or like the groupies, or whatever you want to...
Sure.
The roadies, as you will.
Okay.
You know, oh, these guys, they just carry my gear.
Yeah.
They're just here. They're my friends. Like, they're along to help and give me moral support. You could do a face thing like that. Or on the other side, you could have, say, if the party is something that doesn't really want to take the fame that comes with doing quests and being heroes, or isn't seeking it outwardly, maybe they've got a group following behind them and taking glory for themselves.
Oh.
And that would be really interesting as a hook as well, is, you know, you're going around doing all these quests, but there's a party following a day behind you that goes in and does cleanup work and then claims what you didn't, finish off, or
Mm,
if you didn't report back or didn't tell, like, maybe you're reporting to one person,
sure.
but they're going to the local towns saying they did what you did.
Right. And I can see a really interesting plot hook to that too, like just this idea of like, yeah, remember when we bested the mountain trolls? Like, no, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. Trent did that.
Yeah. But then
Uh,
that would become later on, if you find out about this and you confront them,
yeah,
if the public sees them as a hero and you confront them for being a fake hero and you being the real hero,
sure.
public perception of you might be that, no, you're just trying to pull the glory from the real hero.
Yeah, it's stolen glory from. You're not the real Spider Ham.
Yeah, and then it could be the case of, well, then if you beat the real hero, are you seen as a villain, or does it come to light that, oh, maybe you are the real deal? Maybe this person was lying to me. It could be a redemption arc. It could go all sorts of directions from that.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that. I'm thinking that there's from at least a storytelling perspective, that was the kind of thing that I got as a takeaway from this idea that, like, maybe people just don't, and they wouldn't really have an idea of the picture of what the heroes are doing in the way that the people that are directly involved do. And if that is the case, then some things are going to get misinterpreted. And maybe people's, impression is going to be different. And possibly it's just a matter of who's doing what and what people value. Like, okay, for the young one, Miles Morales, that version from Into the Spider-Verse, is the real Spider-Man. Because what Miles does in that movie is very heroic, as he is Spider-Man. He's the primary Spider-Man in that movie, and what he does is very heroic. And sans other interpretations, or, outside of a different one, yeah, he's absolutely the hero of that story, and you'd understand why, if that's the only thing you're familiar with, that is the only real Spider-Man. But I think it's fascinating that in that it's also the story that tells you about so many Spider-Men.
Yeah.
And still there's a real one. when I feel like the whole purpose of the movies for Into the Spider-Verse was to kind of explain that really anyone could be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
If they were, if they had the courage and the opportunity to be that. Which, not to divert too much, but Stan Lee, when he originally made Spider-Man, had the suit traditionally covers everything head to toe. Completely. And one of the reasons why he wanted to do that is because he felt like it was important for anyone to be able to see themselves in the suit. That anyone could be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it's so funny when we talk about who the real Spider-Man is, because every one of those versions is a real Spider-Man in some way.
Well, on the flip side of that is, who is Robin? And that's
true.
not only because, well, anyone could be Robin. No, it's because the mantle of Robin has been passed around to several characters given the title of Robin.
Right.
Where, obviously, one of them was killed by Joker, and then there was another one that left. And there's been at least three different Robins, for instance.
Right. Well, did he get killed by Joker, though?
Yeah, he got beaten to death with a crowbar.
You didn't play Arkham Knight, did you?
It depends what version of canon you're going with, because
Okay.
he kind of beat him to death and then kind of turned him into a Joker clone type thing.
And in some ways, it turned him into essentially a villain. After he was mentally broken. But yes.
Well, he still beat him pretty badly.
Oh, yeah.
fun fact in that, Teen Titans Go, which
Yeah.
everyone hates because it's not the original Teen Titans. It is fully self-aware and ridiculous, however. There is a bookshelf with a urn of ashes that says Jason Todd and has a crowbar leaning against it in the Teen Tower. Or in the Titans Tower. So,
Yep.
just paying homage to that.
Paying homage to the Jason Todd of it all. Yeah, they've done that with many different superheroes over the years.
Yes.
Sometimes they'll rebrand them, but I've seen many ways where they don't. And Spider-Man's probably the ones that had the most interpretations. There's something like 20 or 30 different versions of Spider-Man if you want to run through everything. Or no, maybe not. Maybe not quite so many that are specifically Spider-Man that are called Spider-Man. But in terms of then there's the Scarlet Spiders and Madam or Spider-Woman and Spider-Gwen and Spider-Ham and all those. Which are all supposed to be essentially different versions of Spider-Man anyway. But the point is, the perception from the ground about who the real hero is and who it isn't can be shaped a lot by just your experiences with them. And so I guess the lesson that a party might want to take away is if they want to be the real heroes of the story and they want to have the notoriety for that, you got to go out and shake some hands, folks.
Right.
You got to go out there and get right with people on this.
And the other side to that is by making sure people know that you're the hero, you put a target on yourself.
Yeah, and if you're running a game and you want to have fun with that, I'm sure Alex would want to do this too. Fame can also mean notoriety.
Yes.
Notoriety means exposure, and that means you can get a target on your back.
You get a big target on you.
And you don't have to let that story beat go to waste. At all.
Especially if your big bad starts to notice these guys, or a secondary villain, or a tertiary villain.
Or a quadrarian villain.
Is that a word?
Yes.
Now it is.
No, I can't remember what it is, but quadrinary, I believe, is fourth.
We'll go with
Doesn't matter. The point is, if you want to be the real Spider-Man, you gotta put in the work.
Yes. And if you want to be Jason Todd, you don't want to be Jason Todd.
There's no interpretation I know of the Jason Todd that it ends well. Let's put it to you that way. Whether you're in the version where he died or he just became a really angry villain that tried to kill Batman, none of them worked out well for Jason Todd. Don't be Jason Todd, folks. Jason Todd is not the real Spider-Man. So,
that's the title of this segment.
yeah, Jason Todd is not the real Spider-Man.
Yep.
Alright.
I approve.
Okay.
People are going to have to wait to the end of the segment to understand why the title of that segment is that.
Oh, alright, folks. Well, this has been an episode of Total Pebble Knockdown. And, Alex, if people want to find out who the real Total Pebble Knockdown is, where can they go?
You can find the real one and only Total Pebble Knockdown over at TotalPebbleKnockdown.com.
That's right, and when you go over there, you'll get all the shows, and you'll get all of the other stuff that we do over there. You can check out
Mostly the shows.
Mostly the shows. You can get the live stream schedules. You can also check out our merch store while you're there. And if you click on our Patreon banner, you can also check out some of the additional stuff that we have for people over there, including full episodes in video format of the show before the segments even release. So that's always fun. As well as some early releases of other stuff like Titanium Mine. And you can also find us on every social media platform. Well, no,
Pretty
you can find us
much.
on a couple at least.
Oh, you can find us on almost every place you find podcasts, however.
That's what I wanted to say. You can find us on, Anchor and iTunes and Google Play and all
Audible,
of those.
Spotify,
Audible, Spotify, those are great ones.
Amazon Music.
You can find us on Amazon Music.
I made a link tree. Go to our Twitter at Pebble Knockdown and
That's
click
where
the
you can
link. And then there's a list of links you can click to find our podcast.
Exactly.
Also, you can now review our podcast on Spotify. We'd love some reviews and some ratings if everyone wants to do that.
Yeah.
And if you let us know that you reviewed our podcast somewhere, like drop us a line and we'll send you some stickers.
There you go. That would be cool. And of course, you can find our YouTube channel as well. It's Total Pebble Knockdown, and the individual segments in video form are over there if you'd rather look at them there. Leave a like if you enjoy them. Leave a dislike if you don't.
Leave a dislike if you care that we can no longer see dislikes.
Yeah, I mean, we technically can. It's just the public can't. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I think it
Yes.
is. Yeah. But to let us know that, no, I did not care for this thing. That's fine.
Just let us know that you watched it.
Yes. Constructive criticism is okay. I'm good with it. And while you're over on Twitter, you can also find us. I am at Citanium.
And I am at EXP Limited.
And like we said, the show is at Pebble Knockdown. Okay, so we are gonna get out of here and figure out who the real identity of Jason Todd is.
It was Batman.
It was Batman?
I'm Batman.
Oh man. Can you imagine if just Jason Todd just said, I am Batman, when Joker got him?
That would have been great.
That would have been great.
I'm Batman.
And then Joker would want to kill him even more. But, like, could that be, like, a way that Jason would be like, I'm gonna help Batman fake his death? That would have been something else. Oh. Well, they never did that storyline. Missed opportunity there, DC. Anyway, thank you for joining us on TPK, and we will see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.